The film follows the story of brothers Aaron and Justin Smith, survivors of a mysterious cult. Aaron, the younger brother, receives a package containing a videotape. He goes out to buy a player to watch the tape, using the money that was meant to buy a new battery for his brother's car. This tape contains a kind of message from a girl warning about the absence of members of the cult camp due to an event called the Ascension. Justin questions Aaron about the money spent to play the video and explains that he pulled them out of what he refers to as the Death Alien Cult, after hearing rumors about the members planning to commit mass suicide. During a cleaning job at a house, they talk about the mediocre life they are leading. Aaron, being very young at the time, has good memories of the camp and talks about how nice it was to eat something healthy back then. Justin counters that he would rather be alive eating poorly than dead. While Aaron cuts Justin's hair, he insists that the cultists never talked about dying, but rather about going to somewhere else. Justin responds sarcastically, and Aaron complains about their difficult life. Justin ignores him, saying he needs the car for therapy. Aaron, annoyed, no longer wants the treatment and, hearing his brother's complaints, runs the clippers over his head out of spite. In therapy, Justin comments on how his brother is not happy with the situation and mentions the tape received from the cult, saying he was relieved to see they were not dead, but laments that his brother thinks he was pulled from the camp for no reason. Footage of news reports about the brothers escaping the cult is shown, while Justin comments that, due to Aaron's young age at the time, only good memories remained regarding the cult, making him perceive the present moment as horrible. But for him, life outside the camp is better due to the freedom to think for himself. Justin questions why it is so hard for him and his brother to move on and prosper, and laments the burden of feeling responsible for Aaron's well-being. Drinking in a park, the two discuss debts, and Aaron says he wants to visit the cult camp as a way to say goodbye and put an end to this story. Justin agrees to visit for one day and one night to help his brother improve. Aaron, in therapy, shares how his brother, despite always trying to do his best, ends up being very inflexible and making bad choices that frustrate him greatly. The scene cuts to the brothers in the car heading toward the camp. Aaron tries to defend that the place was a community and not a cult, and in a lighthearted manner, mentioning some specific characteristics, Justin convinces him that it really was a cult. They continue joking and singing until they arrive at a memorial by the road that belonged to their mother. Justin talks to the memorial, saying he is doing the best he can to take care of Aaron, who approaches and sees a framed drawing on the memorial. He assesses that it seems to have been placed there recently, as it looks very new, but Justin claims they made the drawing for their mother when they were little. Aaron gets distracted by birds flying in circles in the sky and notices a strange formation ahead, like a stake, and asks Justin what that could be. He responds that it could be a volcanic formation or something like that, but he is not sure. Then Justin goes to the center of the road and observes that birds are flying in circles at both ends of the road. But when he looks again, the birds disappear, leaving him a little confused. They then continue their journey, and just before reaching the entrance of the camp, they cross paths with a young man with a scared appearance, who rushes past, seemingly unaware of the car's presence. Upon crossing the entrance of Arcadia camp, which was once their home, a man watches them with a disturbing and incessant smile. Getting out of the car, they observe the residents leading a peaceful life, without much worry, and are soon greeted by Hal, an old acquaintance, who welcomes them and asks the reason for the brothers' visit. Justin explains that they are just visiting to take advantage of the members being at the camp, and Hal retorts that they are always around and invites them to eat in the camp's cafeteria. Inside, they see some old acquaintances like Tim, a silent and suspicious old man who brews beer on site. Shane and Anna join them at the table, reminiscing about how much they have grown, and Anna asks if Aaron remembers her, to which he replies that he doesn't remember much. Justin starts a speech as if to comment on everyone's appearance, but is soon interrupted by Hal, who completes the thought, saying they are healthy because of the food and fresh air in the place. Justin only reluctantly accepts Hal's remark. Aaron praises the beer produced by Tim, and Hal comments that it is the most profitable product of the community. Next, Lizzie joins the table and is introduced to everyone by Hal. She says it is a pleasure to meet them and that she has heard many stories about the brothers. Aaron asks how Lizzie ended up at the camp, and she explains that she was in a nearby psychiatric hospital and enjoyed going out for walks. And on one of those walks, she met Tim and realized she felt better there. Hal points to Dave, the smiling guy they saw earlier, who was at another table watching them with the same fixed smile as before. Hal then recalls that Justin used to take photographs during the time he was part of the community, which surprises Aaron, and continues by saying that he could have been a great photographer. Shane then talks about the theory that it takes 1,000,000 hours to achieve mastery in something. In the dormitory, Aaron asks Justin if Shane and Anna are romantically involved, despite being castrated. Aaron doubts the castration, but Justin insists that their youthful appearance hides their true age of 40. Aaron attributes this to the healthy life at the camp. Justin notices a note on their bunk that says to remain silent. He then goes out for a jog. Along the way, Justin encounters people practicing archery, a motorcyclist followed by black birds, a group playing on a wooden platform, and Hal trading beer, whose buyers observe him strangely. He then continues running down the road that leads to the camp, crossing paths with the strange boy they spotted upon arrival. He tries to greet the boy, but as before he walks by without even noticing Justin, who continues on his way. That night, the community gathers around the campfire. Hal plays the keyboard, Shane performs magic tricks, and Lizzie paints with charcoal. Hal says he wants to show something to Justin and invites him to his cabin. The scene presents the setting of Hal's cabin, containing broken musical instruments, a photograph of a lake, a small collection of rifles, an image of a Tesla invention that photographs thoughts, electronic equipment, and a map with some areas circled. Hal offers Justin a shot of a drink made by him and states he intends to produce it in larger quantities later. Justin observes an equation on a blackboard and questions whether Hal has solved it yet. He replies that he hasn't and states that sometimes he wishes he weren't so rational. Justin asks what the equation solves, and Hal responds that he wouldn't believe it if he told him. The scene returns to the campfire, where Aaron brings up with Anna that each member has a different skill and asks if she was the camp's clothing designer. Anna confirms and says she made most of Aaron's clothes in childhood, though he doesn't remember this. She then invites him to see new models she is producing. Back in Hal's cabin, he tells Justin that, to him, everything Justin varies from doesn't matter to it's forgiven, and questions again why they return to the camp at this moment. Justin says the reason was the videotape with Anna talking about the end sent by them. But Hal says there has never been any case of suicide at the camp, and states that everything that happens there is that people have long, healthy lives and thus grow to be what they want to be. Looking at the equation on the board, Hal also asserts that there is something greater than them in that place, and that now they are old enough to understand that, saying that soon this will become evident. Anna shows her drawings to Aaron in her cabin. She asks what he and his brother do for a living, and Aaron says they work with house cleaning. She recalls that he used to enjoy fishing in childhood, but he states that he hasn't fished in so long he can't even remember how to tie a fishing knot. He then asks if Anna gets paid for that, and she jokes that the job she's referring to is staying alone in the cabin with him. They both laugh, and she then explains that most of the money they receive comes from the sale of the brewed beer, but that they do get paid for what they do. He then questions whether they don't need to leave the camp, and Anna simply responds with a smile. Around the campfire, Justin challenges Shane on a magic trick. Shane invites him to a card trick, guessing the correct card, but Justin pretends it is wrong. Justin asks about Aaron, and Shane states he is with Anna. Shane then performs a trick with a baseball that doesn't fall after being thrown. He makes it reappear in Justin's hand, leaving him perplexed. They are interrupted by Hal inviting everyone to something called the fight. Upon arriving at the location, Dave rushes hurriedly toward what seems to be the spot where the other end of the rope is located. Aaron asks Lizzie why Dave doesn't speak. She attributes the brain damage to two causes. Hal says it was from a construction fall, while Tim claims it is due to excessive self-trepanation for intoxicating purposes. As Hal starts to explain the fight, which consists of a kind of tug-of-war game with something hidden high in the darkness, as a way to confront their personal desires. Justin skeptically tries to explain to Aaron that on the other side of the rope is Dave on top of a ladder. Hal then invites Aaron to be the next to fight. He tries once but loses, but on a second chance, he ties the rope around his waist, managing to emerge victorious. Hal indicates Justin for the next round, which he reluctantly agrees to. Without a chance to think, the rope is pulled with great force, knocking him to the ground and injuring his hand. Looking at the other members watching him with some disdain, he spots Dave in the background and looks back to the darkness of the night. Meanwhile, Lizzie observes the painting she made, depicting two eyes in the darkness watching the camp. Shortly after, Lizzie begins to tend to Justin's hand injury. She says she used to take care of the injuries of a boy addicted to weapons. Justin jokes that it was good she wasn't dating him anymore, but Lizzie retorts that she didn't date him, just that she was obsessed with him when he took some medications. Hal arrives to thank Justin for participating in the dynamic and wishes him well. Justin states he never understood the meaning of that game. Hal replies that they are just metaphors that unite the community. Justin and Lizzie exchange glances, and while lighting a cigarette, Hal tells them to have fun. After an awkward silence, Justin escapes the situation by saying he is quite tired. On the way to the dormitory, Aaron thanks Justin for coming back and invites him to shoot with Hal's guns the next day. Justin reluctantly agrees. They then spot Tim lighting his pipe next to a cabin protected by chains and locks, and Aaron asks what is inside. Tim answers that it contains equipment for beer production. Arriving at the dormitory, Justin asks Aaron if there was something between him and Anna, and he replies that there were only some exchanged glances. Justin then says that when they were younger, Anna always looked at Aaron with interest. The next day they go out to have fun shooting at bottles. Justin starts apparently missing his shots at one of the bottles, but when examining the area, he observes that the fired ammunition seems to have hit something invisible, leaving him quite confused. Justin runs off and encounters the strange man on the road. He tries to talk to the man, who ends up fleeing from Justin, leaving behind only one old shoe. He continues running, and as he approaches a container, it hits the ground with a bang that scares Justin. He looks up, trying to understand what happened, and the sun seems to flicker like a light bulb, when suddenly some photographs appear on the ground, forming a circle around him. Upon picking up one of the photos, he sees trees falling a few meters behind him, which scare him again, leaving him perplexed with the situation. Justin then backs away from the spot as the camera begins to move through the bushes, reaching a tent surrounded by strange stakes. As he approaches the cabin, it is possible to see a man running repeatedly in the same manner to the sound of music and a clock that resets to the same point after a few seconds, as if stuck in a loop. Later that day, everyone gathers for a karaoke night. Justin tells Hal about his experience on the trail, showing a photo of a lake and saying he felt something at that spot. Hal suggests that Justin is older to feel better and asks who he thinks is the leader of the place. Justin answers that it would be Hal, who denies the existence of a leader and states that Justin will find his own answers. Both observe 2 full moons, and Hal describes it as an atmospheric effect, asserting that 2 moons bring the truth and 3 mean ascension. Justin does not quite understand what this means, but Hal continues saying that if Justin and Aaron remain at the camp, go to the lake to the point indicated in the picture, and dive to the bottom and grab what they find there, he will achieve the answer he seeks, which could lift a great weight off his shoulders. After karaoke, everyone gathers around the campfire again. Aaron and Anna talk about a kind of herb called the flower. Anna takes a puff from the cigarette made with the herb and blows the smoke directly into Aaron's face, which causes an immediate effect. She then invites him to take a walk to show him something. Justin approaches Lizzie, who presents the painting she just made and says it is the crazy weapons addict guy she mentioned while taking care of his injuries. Justin confirms that it really does match the description and walks on, soon noticing a blonde woman crying while sitting on the stairs of the place. Aaron and Anna arrive at the back of one of the cabins, where it is possible to see a kind of invisible wall reflecting the landscape like a giant mirror. Anna tries to explain to Aaron what that phenomenon is, but unsuccessfully, only stating that the phenomenon extends throughout the camp in a perfect circle and can only be seen with the use of the flower. Aaron then asks if the reflection is solid, but Anna doesn't respond. He then questions if this was the reason Anna sent the videotape to his house. However, she says she didn't send any video since it was an agreement for everyone not to share anything after what happened with his brother. Justin approaches Jennifer, who is crying on the stairs, and she reveals being the author of the silence notes, unable to sleep due to the noise. Jennifer states she was searching for her missing husband and got lost, being found by Hal, who helped her. Justin asks about the searches, and Jennifer indicates that they have been going on for a long time. The next morning, by the lake, Justin asks Aaron if there is something unusual about the place. Aaron agrees, having witnessed strange phenomena the night before. They ponder staying at the camp, but Justin is indecisive. Justin reveals Aaron the advice Hal gave about seeking answers at the bottom of the lake and dives in. Concerned about Justin's delay, Aaron prepares to jump when Justin emerges terrified with a small box, claiming there is a monster in the lake and begging Aaron to row quickly. They both exit the lake and examine the box. Inside are some stones and a videotape. Justin then convinces his brother that they need to leave the camp, but Aaron asks if they can say goodbye properly to everyone. They gather with the others that night in the cafeteria. Lizzie gives one of her drawings to Justin as a farewell gift, an image of a man shooting a dark creature in the forest. Hal then suggests they watch the contents of the tape as a farewell act, as it is how the entity communicates with them. The tape shows footage from the time the brothers were still part of the cult, trying to convince a boy named Michael to join them. At the moment when Aaron is about to speak about which god they worship at the site, the tape freezes. Hal then concludes that the tape's message is an apology for the lies told to the press about being a death cult and being castrated. Aaron asks if they are really castrated, and Hal denies it, leaving Aaron furious with Justin for having lied to him. Justin tries to justify himself, saying he had to say that to keep Aaron away from there. Hal states that the problem may have to do with Justin's desire to have been a leader of the cult, which makes him quite irritated. Justin sees Jennifer and talks about the promise Hal made about helping in the search for her husband. Hal merely says for them to leave. Justin then storms out angrily and tries to start the car, but without success, as the battery had died. He decides to walk out of the camp. At a certain point on the trail, Justin becomes a bit confused and observes that the path seems to change every time he looks. Then he sees the strange man entering a cabin and decides to go talk to him. Justin knocks on the door and tries to talk to the man, but when he opens it, he finds the man hanging. Shortly after, the same man appears, screaming behind him, asking what he is doing in his house, startling Justin. They sit down to talk, and Justin expresses his complete confusion about the whole situation at the camp and how the guy is hanging while also talking to him at the same time. The man named Carl then responds that that place is like some sort of temporal prison that can have cycles of repetition of different durations caused by the entity. He says the best thing to do is to end it all before each cycle starts anew, or the entity will do so in a much worse way. Back at the camp, Hal laments how he acted earlier, and Tim calls him to talk privately. Shane tells Aaron that everyone knows his brother is a good person, and that each one there knows about what happens and wants to leave things in the past. But somehow everything ends up repeating like an old record. Tim then suggests to Aaron that he does not need to do what Hal has to say. Back to Justin, Carl reveals that in order to escape, they must leave the camp boundaries before the next cycle. Carl explains that the entity keeps them trapped by confusing the path. Justin insists on searching for his brother, and Carl agrees to help, but with a price. Carl throws a cigarette out of the cabin, which quickly disappears, and then Carl runs outside and also disappears. Justin, confused, examines the area. Carl reappears inside the cabin, explaining that he's trapped on the motorcycle, but Justin isn't. Carl asks Justin to get a gun from Chris, an addict who owes him a favor. He hands a compass to Justin, asking him to only trust it. Carl reveals that the entity prevents him from sleeping, keeping him awake as torture in a 3-hour loop. Justin then leaves the place, leaving the man staring into the darkness. The next morning, upon leaving the cabin, Aaron looks at the sky, and 2 photographs fall in front of him. One of them is a portrait of him viewed from above, and the other is a photo of a trailer. Aaron shows the photos to Hal and asks what they could mean. Hal then states that what they know is that the entity shows what it sees of them, and that the photo of the trailer must be where he should go. Aaron asks Hal for help in finding his brother, and Hal points the way he should follow, but says he cannot accompany him, and wishes that Aaron can make his own choices before the 3rd full moon appears. Aaron crosses one of the camp's boundary markers without seeming to suffer any effects. However, Anna appears, and despite being very close, they cannot see each other, as if they were in different universes. Aaron then follows the path indicated by Hal. Justin approaches Chris's cabin, stating that Carl sent him there. Upon entering, he finds the man handcuffed in the room, who quickly asks if Justin has any drugs to offer him. But Mike, the boy who appears in the footage found in the lake, suddenly appears, stating he is not interested in their religion and that he is taking care of Chris's addiction. He also states he found a hard drive that might contain answers. Chris then asks how he can help Justin, who then says he was told to get a gun from him. Mike then argues with Chris about his relationship with Carl, but they are soon interrupted when the footage starts playing. Distressing sounds of screams for help and mutilation leave Justin perplexed, questioning what it meant. Mike then explains that it could be their past or present, but that it no longer mattered since they are trapped in that cycle. Chris then tells Justin that he should not give in to the entity's tricks, and that he should run without looking back. Mike then goes to show Justin the weapons. In another location, Aaron approaches the tent seen earlier and sees the man stuck in the time loop for a few seconds, running infinitely and returning to the same place. The man then tells Aaron to run before the entity catches him and then charges toward him, turning into a large bloodstain that terrifies Aaron, causing him to flee the location. Back in Chris's cabin, Mike and Justin discuss the circles. Mike reveals himself to be Jennifer's missing husband, but Justin does not reveal that she is looking for him. They say goodbye, and shortly afterward, Mike sets the cabin on fire to restart the time loop. As Justin attempts to return, he sees the cabin in flames and Mike entering, and time resets, with Chris on the porch and Mike approaching. Justin then follows his path, guided by the compass, until arriving at a hill. He stops and examines the compass again, but sees nothing around. Upon crossing one of the limits of the stakes, a trailer suddenly appears on top of the hill. Justin observes that nearby a large feline is stalking him, but it soon moves away. Then suddenly, Aaron emerges screaming his name, saying he has been looking for his brother for some time. Upon reaching the trailer, they observe that no one is there. They also spot on a table outside the flower used as a narcotic by the camp's residents. They then proceed without noticing that a projector in the location turns on, revealing footage of them from moments ago, as if starting a loop there. Right afterwards, something throws the projector away, and the scene then shows in the landscape what would be the domes of various sizes where the temporal loops occur. As the brothers cross different landscapes with large sculptures, the camp residents gather to await the restart of the ascension cycle. They return to Carl's cabin, where Aaron calls his brother to talk and states that he wants to stay at the camp even knowing about the loop, saying it would be better than living the life they had outside. Justin then says that he will take him back to the camp, leaving a revolver for Carl, who fires a few times into the sky and then shoots himself in the head. However, it soon restarts his loop, lamenting not having ended it. Arriving at the camp, everything is empty and silent. They then spot Tim unlocking the small cabin he said contained beer equipment. Aaron and Justin decide to investigate what is inside the cabin and discover that it actually holds various tapes and film reels. A television in the place turns on by itself and shows recordings of moments experienced by the two in the previous days and shows the members gathered around the campfire area. Realizing that something is about to happen to them, Aaron runs to try to help, and Justin follows him. When they arrive, they find only a few pieces of clothing. Justin comforts Aaron, saying that they will return soon and that he wouldn't forgive himself if he left his brother in that place, then deciding that he will also stay at the camp with him. Suddenly, a whirlwind begins to destroy everything, initiating the process of restarting the camp's temporal loop. Aaron and Justin then try to escape by pushing the car to make it start. After briefly discussing and forgiving each other for the lives they had been living, they manage to get the car to work, and Aaron accelerates towards the exit as the whirlwind comes toward them. Upon reaching the camp's boundary, they see a barrier resembling a mirror, which leaves them very scared. However, they keep accelerating and finally manage to escape the location successfully. The residents rejoice at realizing that the brothers have escaped from that temporal prison, and Aaron and Justin head toward their old life once again.